I know.
20th at 1:30 would be better for me.
Good morning. I want to welcome everybody to the Tuesday, March 14th meeting of the St. Joseph County Board of Commissioners. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, ho, ho, nice try. I pledge the flags.
Yeah.
I
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Didn't know the flag was moved.
The Vice President took care of that.
That's good. First item on the agenda is the accounts payable docket. Do we have a motion?
Approval.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next is Resolution R7C 2023, County Buildings Use Policy.
Yeah, this is a resolution that we started way back in early 22, and actually probably a little bit 21, we started talking about when the security and all the other aspects in there of having a written policy that everybody understands, and especially for the public, and it'll be posted on their website. So if people want to use the downstairs lobby for the press conferences that happen, or if people want to have any other public function inside the building, they just need to get permission from the commissioner's office. There'll be a application online, and what's the cube thing you can scan?
QR code.
QR code to scan on that, which explains everything. So it just has a policy so everybody who wants to use that for announcing they're running for an office or wants to talk about any other subject that matter, it'll be up and running with all the instructions on there.
I think it's good that we have it written, posted. I'd just like to emphasize that this is not retroactive. There's several groups who wish to express their opinion this evening, and they will be allowed to use the lobby if they wish. However, there is a restriction by the fire marshal as to the number of people that will be enforced. Do you agree? Fleming, Dr. Fleming?
So this is all for, it says the county buildings, all the buildings or just this building? Because it says buildings.
Correct. So it encompasses any use of, like, say, the courthouse steps, the exterior of the county city building, the interior. This way, we can ensure that business can be conducted, court proceedings aren't upheld, that type of thing. So this will give the county notice of proposed meetings, press conferences, that type of thing. It's been a policy of the county for years. We just didn't have a written policy that encompassed everything, so now we do.
Also includes Mishawaka courts.
Mishawaka courts as well, yeah.
Any other discussion? If not, do we have a motion?
To approve.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Moving on to the county assessor. A request to advertise for the camera system.
Good morning, Michael Caslon, St. Joseph County Assessor with offices located on the third floor of this building. Before you is a request to advertise for bids for three systems, or three critical portions of the assessment process. One is the CAMA system, which is our computer-assisted mass appraisal system, annual review of commercial and residential properties, and an MRA program, which is our multiple regression program to help speed up the appeal process. All of this funding has already been approved through the ARP request. So we're just asking for you to allow us to put the bids out and start looking for appropriate vendors for these three areas.
Do you have a ballpark figure what it would be?
Of each one?
Yeah.
So if we break down, we look at the CAMA system. The CAMA system costs about $624,000. We're going to take roughly, and that's divided over 5 years as a pay schedule. We're going to take the first payment and the the maintenance fee of the first year and pay it through the ARP funds. And then what we have in the budget already will sustain another 5 years. At the end of 5 years, that'll save us about $80,000 in maintenance fees moving forward. So that was roughly about $440,000 for that. And then the MRA program is about $360 roughly. And then looking at the commercial contract, that's $112,000 a year for 3 years, not including trending, which is an additional $17,000 a year. And then there's another piece that's not in the request, which is going to be for the education, and that's services. And my understanding is we don't have to contract out for services.
Any questions? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote? Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
So you'll be putting out the advertising, right?
Yes.
Good.
Next is our consent agenda for infrastructure planning and growth. There's a request from Beacon Health System for their 2023 Sunburst races. Three of these, we can do this together, or?
Yeah, all together.
And a request to approve an encroachment within the public right-of-way at 19880 Yoder Street. Any questions about either one of those?
Not at the present time.
Hearing none, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next is approval of the abatement contract for the code enforcement program. Oh, there she is.
Hi, Abby Wiles, APC Director. Before you is a boilerplate contract with Real Green Lawn Care for abatement services for the code enforcement program. This would bring our bench of contractors to 4 under contract with us. This gentleman in particular just really wants to do mowing. We have other contractors on board that only do cleanup. And then we have some that prefer small jobs, some that have larger equipment. We've been operating in kind of a round robin style where we go to the different contractors in order on work orders or code. And then some can pass if they're busy with other work, and then we go on to the next. It's really been a benefit having multiple contractors under contract for abatement, because like I said before, people are busy, and then some prefer small jobs, some prefer larger jobs. So just asking for your approval to bring this one under contract with us as well.
And that's the Real Green Lawn Care?
Mhm.
Under
So we have a boilerplate contract
care.
for mowing and cleanup, but that allows them to do services under public nuisance or weed and rank. But some prefer not to mow, they just want to clean up. This gentleman in particular would just be mowing.
Do we have, are there other people who can also apply to mow?
Sure, because we went through the RFQ process last year, we've been negotiating with contractor, and we didn't get any quotes. Now here we are, and we have 4 under contract. We're probably to the point where we don't really need any more contractors. We are ready to go for the 2023 enforcement season, but I still have conversations with folks if they're interested in contracting with us. It's worked out really well, like I said, to have a bench of contractors for mowing and cleanup as it has for towing. We have 3 towing contractors under contract, because if some are, dispatched and have other jobs, or some don't have the equipment, we go on to the next. But I mean, I think with 4, we probably have our needs met, right?
Gotcha. How many mowing sites did they do last year?
We did approximately 39, we've had work orders on approximately 39 properties, I believe, and some are not all mow, some are just cleanup, and then some are just mow, but by and large, they're both.
Do we have to mow county property in the city of South Bend limits so we don't get a city code enforcement?
Sky takes care
Yes, we do.
of that. Not code for St. Joe County.
Fortunately, we do.
St. Joe property in the city of South Bend.
But we have contractors that we use for that.
Okay, and we have over 100, does that sound right?
100 lots. I don't know that offhand.
I think we kind of explored that last year to sell that for $1.
Yeah, and I think that that's still in the works. I'm reviewing a map now, I think, with.
Okay. We'll put that on, or I'll look into that. And also, should we, you may not want to answer, which is cool. Should we also have a board up company?
Okay, so that is something that I have asked, that I've presented to the county council and that Phil Garrett is working on because he's the building department attorney. We have we've adopted the Indiana unsafe building law. It allows us to board up, but we're missing the procedure that we need in the county code in order to do that. Phil and Brandy are working on that amendment now. Then we will need to add that service either to our existing contracts for our code enforcement. Not all want to do it, but we know of two that do. That's why I said it's good to have the bench of 4, because then some are interested in certain, services and others aren't. We might have to end up, we're still working with legal to determine if, since it's through the building code, if those contracts would need to be specifically with the building department or if they can be with us through code enforcement.
And our timeline for that would be?
When I get the revisions back from the attorneys.
Okay. So you want me to get a hold of Garrett and say, let's get this rolling here, or it's going to be spring and
Yeah, and then,
people need the ability to board up?
yeah, it is one of the things that I identified with, well, I've talked with you and
Right.
Commissioner Baxmeyer about it, President Baxmeyer,
Well,
but
that's cool, but that's the thing that, like, the whole encompasses all of the stuff we want to do in code. And like, don't be afraid to come to us and say, this is what we need to get done. We'll help that, but that's something that needs to get done. Because identifying with the limited inspectors you have, and then phase 2 of cleanup, tow cars, mow, we need that entity to be in part of this if we're going to have a successful code. Thank you, Abby. It's good, take a breath, we're all right. It's good, it's good.
Did a good job getting your bench
yeah, I'm really
established.
satisfied with all of the folks that we brought on, and it's worked out really well, having multiple contractors. We had a meeting with everybody that is under contract, and then this gentleman that you're hopefully gonna approve the contract with today, and just talking about general coordination, because like I said, some will do both, some just want mow, some just want cleanup, so we're gonna have to kind of be strategic about who we use where, and even, and sometimes having 2 different contractors on site for different aspects of the job too. We're making it work.
Anything else? Do we have a motion on the abatement contract for code enforcement?
Motion to approve.
I just have a question about how much is this going to cost then to have this real green? You know how much?
So how the contracts are written is that they quote us for the work orders on a case-by-case basis.
Okay.
If we have like a job that's just mowing the front yard, we would request a quote from Roosevelt is his name. He would visit the site, come back and say, it will cost you $250 or whatever it would cost.
Okay.
If it is under $2,500, the inspectors and myself can approve it. Administratively. Anything over $2,500, which we have had a couple for the very large cleanups, Derek,
Wow.
that you've that you're aware of because we've been out. Then it goes to Bree for approval, the procurement director.
Okay, thank you.
And then we have a set amount of abatement funds that are remaining from last year that were PO'd for an existing or one of the other contractors that we have under contract. And then we have a set abatement amount and mowing amount for 2023 that are budgeted that we're basically tracking from.
Okay, good. All right.
Information. We have a motion on the floor to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you
Aye.
vote? Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next is approval of a project completion affidavit.
Sky Matters, Department of Infrastructure Planning and Growth, office on the 7th, 11th floor. This is a completion affidavit for one of our projects that was completed, recently final completed, but substantially completed in 2021 for some subdivision paving. It was for about, I believe, 8 to 10 miles of subdivision paving. They all start running together in my head after a while, but this is just, that project has been completed, and this just starts the warranties and those types of things. Happy to answer any questions. Ask for your approval.
So does that go over the 21-year paving fix-up roads or the 22?
This would go under the 2021.
Yeah. But correct me if I'm wrong, which happens sometimes. Like last year is the most miles that the county has ever paved and repaired roads.
For mainline paving, to my knowledge, yeah, with a contract, we contracted for over 40 miles of mainline paving and mainline and subdivision paving, so restoration. And to my knowledge, we hadn't done that much full restoration.
So the 40 miles is the most we've ever done, and I believe we have close to 1,500 miles. Is that correct?
1,200, yeah. Well,
Okay, that's.
You round up.
I know we have a lot, but the
This
moral of the
business
story
is
is
round
we
up.
only have so much money and
Yeah.
to do 40, like,
Yeah, and right now, cost per mile for paving is around, I think I looked at one of the most recent bids, there was one road that came in around $400,000 per mile. And so with 1,200 miles of roads, we're looking for other treatments that we can do on some of the roads that may not see as much traffic. And we're hoping to get some more ARP money tonight and to try and stretch that as far as we can, get as many miles as possible without using those treatments. So we're trying to be innovative and
even though my district is the city now, I can say that the county blows away the city roads are horrible, abominable. But I can't touch that. You're way above the city roads.
we try.
And I know you'll keep us informed on the alternatives
Yes.
that you're looking at.
Oh, yeah.
Anything else? If not, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote? Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
There being no old business, we'll move on to, I'm sorry.
Or it'll probably be maybe new, but could our EMA tell us what's going on this week on a state level on what you guys are doing?
It's a severe weather preparedness week, national thing through through IDHS and National Weather Service. That's why I was checking my phone at 10:15. All our sirens went off, and it was kind of done through a state signal that actually goes to the broadcast network too, so they get their little script on the bottom that, you know, there's a tornado warning or whatever it is. So that was unusual because usually our sirens are tested on the first Thursday of the month at 11:30, and this was 10:15 for
That's from
today.
Holy Cross Days.
So, yeah, so it's, even though we're getting snow, it is severe weather today, this time of the year.
And then since you gentlemen have taken over, all of our sirens are all good. We still have a couple more.
We have a few and thing, but we had a meeting, project meeting last week and a half ago with DLZ, moving forward with that,
Okay.
seeing where they're at. We've got one scheduled coming up, and if we get a call in on a siren that didn't work, we try to address it right away. There was actually one scene where Jim and I had to go out and actually repair the siren cabinet with the batteries ourselves.
No, nobody did.
I climbed up the ladder. I was in the field long. He was more of an office guy.
One thing we're doing now is we, online, we have a form that if there is a siren that's down or somebody calls it in, we have them go to the form and it goes to us. So we have a form of documentation now. So if you don't put it on paper, it didn't happen.
And that form is on both the Facebook website for EMA and also the county website. It's accessible there. So then it comes to us. So that's a good paper trail there instead of just call in or something like that.
Appreciate it, because I think the reason y'all are here now is that I believe probably about 20% of our sirens previously weren't even working, and there was no parameters or logistical aspect of how sure it's working, like people, Woodland, bam, it's right outside my house and I haven't heard it in 3 years, that type of stuff. So good job.
Thank you.
It's good we're documenting more, not just relying on verbal.
Right.
Exactly.
And we're trying to get the word out more to let people know that maybe we can get siren watches. So if it does go off or doesn't go off, they can just go online, fill out the form, and then we can address it.
Did you see the email from the governor
Yes.
about, that, he's concerned that we're gonna have bad weather around here, so help us.
And actually, he had passed a declaration that encompassed us.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Glad you brought it up. Anything else to bring up before we move on to public comment? If not, we'll move on. Who wishes to make a public comment this morning? Seeing nobody in the room who wishes to speak?
Sure, you have 3 minutes.
Okay, Mike, you ready? I'm Jenny Piontek, for those who don't know, 2201 Riverside Drive. I would just hope with this opportunity with the doctor, and I'm going to say it wrong if I try to pronounce her name, I know I will, that before you pass the resolution to close Portage Manor, that you'll consider that $3 million is a lot to spend that could be used for roads or elsewhere, instead of just tabling it and waiting till you hear what she says. So, thank you, and thank you, Mr. Baxmeyer, President Baxmeyer, for allowing us to use the lobby
You
tonight.
got the proper gesture down, so
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you.
And that was a joint decision, that wasn't just my decision. So
Okay. Thank
the commissioners.
Thank you, commissioners. Thank you
You don't have to
all.
bow.
I will.
Look at Jenny first.
Thank you. We were going to be outside, so we appreciate the fact that you're
You're welcome.
giving us the permission.
Good.
If nobody else in the room wishes to speak,
So, Mike Castellan, County Assessor, I just wanted to thank the commissioners and the other elected officials for recognizing that the assessment process has been a concern for all the taxpayers, and the support that you're giving goes a long way to helping us ensure that the assessment process is fair and will continue to be fair for the taxpayers as we move forward. So I wanted to thank you personally for supporting the agenda and the attempt to make the assessment process even more efficient as we move forward in the next couple of years. So thank you.
Pressure's on now. Way to go.
Hey,
Thank you for getting that.
I'm up to the task.
Thank you for getting that updated, everything. Thank you.
okay, now we will move
Thanks, Abby.
to those online. Marks, I believe, has his hand
Wait, you
up.
want? Come on.
Are you sure? Go ahead. Go ahead. It's your chance.
Are you saying Mark, Commissioner Baxmeyer?
I am, I'm sorry, Mark, it says Marks on the screen. Yes, Mark.
It's Mark Catanzarite, County Commissioner Baxmeyer. Or Dieter,
I've met you.
Park Drive, South in Indiana. Much like what Mrs. Piontek just mentioned, with the recovery, I know you guys were part of a meeting with this physician that has an Portage Manor. Besides that, I think, given the short amount of time we've had as a council together, we began to work on solutions which could address the fate of Portage Manor. I also express the ability that you guys have to help influence our council to at least postpone or delay the vote for tonight so that we have more time to explore more options as to the Portage Manor. I think all 9 of us, including the commissioners, can put our heads together and come up with a viable solution that I think all the objectives that we all want to meet. Get the county out of the business of being a healthcare provider, keeping the residents at Portage Manor in a facility they're familiar with their family, keeping county employees employed with either a private provider or another arrangement, and keeping the structure, the historic structure, not at the expense of taxpayers. So I would just urge you, if you could help us influence the night, so postpone while this dialogue continues between this physician and others that are having interest in Portage Manor, much like Todd Zeiger from Historic Landmarks. Maybe it's a collaboration between the physician and Historic Landmarks, or another group, or other stakeholders in our county. So I would encourage you and ask you to please consider helping to give the county notice that you guys for a delay of the vote tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Roy, we'll move to you next.
Good morning, Commissioners. I would like to reiterate what Councilman Catanzarite just stated there.
Would you please state your name and address for the record, please?
Yep, Roy Signs, 426 South Meade Street. Again, I'd like to reiterate what Councilman Catanzarite requested there, and asking for a reasonable delay in the council's resolution. Obviously, it would be helpful based on your recommendation for that. In looking at today's meeting, there's obviously a lot of transparency that's starting to happen in the county, which I think is great. I think the detail with which the county assessor is presenting information for you to be able to review is exciting. The ability to have RFPs done and a bench of work that the code enforcement's doing, I think that's very exciting as well. So I think some of that needs to be translated over to Portage Manor, and I would hope to see that some of that can be done. We still haven't seen any of the emails or text messages of any of the exchanges there in the FOIA dump that was put out. We also still have not seen an actual cost analysis of what it's going to cost the county that we'll have to absorb by not having Portage Manor as well. So, simply just, I think, I truly believe and want to believe that your hearts are in the right place in doing what's best for the county. Even though obviously if we have two people in the room, we're going to have 20 different versions of how to get there. So I just would like to thank you for your time, and hope that you will consider requesting that the council delay it for a reasonable period of time, so that we can find a viable option that can both save Portage Manor and the mission, so that we can keep both of those valuable resources in the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else online wish to make a public comment? I don't see any other hands up. If not, I guess we'll close the meeting. Have a motion to recess.
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote? Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.